glad you're still with us. Good afternoon. There's been a series of fake SMSes and other messages going around claiming that people who are currently on social grants could win a massive payout through a lucky draw. Around 18 million South Africans receive social grants. You can imagine the huge impact these kinds of lies could have. Paseka Letsatsi is the spokesperson from the Social Security Agency of South Africa. He joins me now. Paseka, good afternoon. Thanks so much for coming in.
Good afternoon, Stephen, and to the viewers at home as well.
Okay, we see all sorts of strange messages go around. They go on SMS, they go on Twitter, they go on WhatsApp, more and more, I think. Are you finding that people are now trying to sort of almost scam people out of their social grants or make them promises that just aren't going to be kept?
I think what we have witnessed over time is people doing fake messages and so on. But the different with this current message is that we have, it's a legislative process in Parliament wherein people of the public are allowed to make their presentations and so on. And one of the members of the public made a presentation about this lotto matter. And one of the person who was unfortunately in the portfolio committee tweeted that matter. And it went viral, you know. But we just want to put it on record because sometimes some of the things, they make people panic unnecessarily. So we just want to put it on record that this is a parliamentary process. We don't know what will happen when the bill gets adopted by Parliament, by parliamentary portfolio committee and so on. But the long and short of it, Stephen, is that we have this particular situation where people keep on posting messages which are not correct and so on.
I mean, the great fear, of course, is that by definition, many of the people on social grants are financially vulnerable.
Exactly.
They really can't afford to be taken advantage of.
No, exactly. And it's unfortunate that the scammers are not like me. They don't care. As long as they get their hands on the money of the most vulnerable people and so on, they will do it. You know, we had a situation where what we know as the South African Social Security Agency is that you will never get a call from a Sassa official to say, please give us your ID number, please give us your PIN code and so on. But we have people who still do that. They want people to SMS their PIN code or the ID number. So we just want the public to be aware about that particular situation. When that thing happens, please delete or drop the message immediately. Don't respond to it because you'll find yourself without money.
Okay, there will be some people who will want to share their social grant details with members of their family. They might be elderly, they might be blind, they might be disabled in some way. Who can you share your social grant details with? Nobody?
You can't share your PIN code with anybody, Stephen, but unfortunately we have a situation which you just explained, that an old lady will say, I want my granddaughter to go and withdraw money for me and so on. But in that process, you don't know what might happen. She might go there with the friend, and the friend can see the PIN code. But we are just appealing to our beneficiaries to make sure that they keep their PIN very safe. But secondly, Stephen, one thing which the scammers know as well is that I can just look at you and say, Stephen was born in 1970. And I'm 100% sure that the PIN code is 1970. We usually call it a weak PIN. So we just want people, we know that these are old people, they don't want to give complicated PIN codes and so on. But don't give or activate a weak PIN.
It wasn't 1970, I'm pleased to report. Okay, so what you really want to do is you want people to treat it like a bank card. You want it to be as safe as a bank card. Yeah. You want to keep it on your person if you can. Yes. And you want to make sure that no one else knows the PIN code.
We also don't want people to write it somewhere and try to put it, or maybe think I've put it in the drawer or somewhere, because you know the little one, they will definitely be able to get their hands on this particular PIN code. They can just simply go there and withdraw money, and the old lady would not know. When they try to go and withdraw the money, they find that there's no money into their account. So we actually do this thing, especially when we do the outreach program. We try to make sure that we remind our beneficiaries to make sure that they take care of their cards. And one of the most important things as well, Stephen, is that the South African Social Security Agency does not offer any loans. You know, we know that there are people who go and scam our beneficiaries that take loan. And you know, loan sharks, you take 1,000 rand, you are dead for life.
I mean, once every 2 weeks, a government department will have to put out a statement saying this that is currently doing the rounds is a scam, this is doing a scam, whatever it is. It can be a job, it can be anything. In the end, it always comes back to the same thing. Give us your bank account details. Social grant people, as we say, are particularly vulnerable. Do you find that people are targeting them specifically? Do you get many cases of social grant fraud where you find that people actually aren't getting the money that is their right?
We do, Stephen. Remember, the scammers move from one, they are mobile, you know. And they know that the South African Social Security Agency deals with the most vulnerable sector of the society. I think when we started our collaboration with the South African post offices, we knew that and we observed that people were trying to get into the space. But what we can safely say is that our fraud management unit managed to pick some of these problems, and some of these scammers were arrested where they're trying to take money. They change your bank details without you even knowing. But we know that they don't do it by themselves. They do it with a collaboration from someone who works for us or the post office. So, but at least we managed to intervene, and some of the monies of the people were saved.
Paseka, I mean, 3 years ago, you'll remember very, very well how much heat there was about the social grants issue around the payment system and CPS and all the rest, cash paymaster services. That heat's gone now. The post office is now running. It's been running smoothly so far. The post office says that it is.
So far, so good, Stephen, but we need to patch things there and there. And I think, you know, what makes me happy is that this is the government-to-government collaboration. We need to make sure that it works. I mean, Stephen, if your sibling is not doing certain things correctly, you don't throw them out on the street. You try to make sure that they do things properly. So that's what makes us happy, that it is government-to-government collaboration.
And that working relationship is fine. I mean, there's been a change at the top of the post office. Mark Barnes left. There's a current acting CEO who was then suspended. There's now another current acting CEO. That hasn't disrupted anything.
No, it can't. We can't allow those particular issues to disrupt the distribution of social grants. I think we'll be causing a very serious problem to those who depend on this particular amount of money to make ends meet. But we think that the issue between the South African Social Security Agency and SAPO, we have to work together. It's not about whether we like each other and so on. But what is important and what is very much that we need to make sure that we focus on is the beneficiary beyond anything else.
Paseka, to appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed. Paseka Letsatsi is the spokesperson of the South African Social Security Agency. I suppose the message really is make sure that the person in your family who gets social grants is keeping their card safe and hasn't told you or anyone else the PIN.